Hello there. I think I have everything situated so that I won't have to shift me or the camera or what I just call the platform on which I've lately been setting my bottles to make it easier during the video for you to see the label. You may wish that it was more here to block me out, but everybody's entitled to a mistake, and if that's your opinion, then that's your mistake. William F. Buckley, and I don't have the exact quote, once said that he was making one of his speeches, and he said something like this: "You may be tempted to disagree with me, but that's all right. I've experienced rejection before, and you doubtless have been wrong before." And people did disagree with him. I did on some things. He's dead. I'm still alive. A Glencairn. And usually, by the time I get here, it's my third glass, and you can see finger marks and such on it. Tonight, I haven't touched a drop yet. I'm going to show you this, and I'll tell you more about it as we go for reasons that will become clear. But it is Jack Daniel's single barrel proof. This particular one is 129.4 proof, and I have not opened this, so bear with me please while I do so. I don't believe that I found the perforations without undue difficulty. Now for the fun part. Holy. I need to do a video about seals. Oy vey, I don't see anything handy. I'm not going to pause it since I'm just going right over here. I'm back in the USSR. Baby, come as you are. I'm not a big Beatles fan, but that kind of fit, well, flop. And I don't want to cut myself, nor stab myself, nor otherwise injure myself. I'm allergic to pain. It makes me hurt. Okay. Somebody needs to tell the people at the various distilleries, I'll be right back, that we want to be able to easily open our whiskey. It doesn't, everything else, I set the glass down, or I set the bottle down on the marble here. You can hear it. When I pop the cork, it never comes through on the video. That's a little less than I ordinarily pour. But as I say, this is, what did I say? 129.4 proof. It's not a hazmat. I'm going to have a video about that at some point. I think, if I remember correctly. Well, I thought I had everything. That'll teach me to thought. Excuse me. But it still has proof. And this stuff, if all you know about Jack Daniel's, and remember, this channel is intended for people who are new to whiskey, especially this Whisky Basics has such people for its intended audience, and so you might not know much about whiskey. If you do, fine. I'm not going to tell you you can't watch. But for newbies, if all you know about Jack Daniel's is the black bottle, old number 7, you don't know what Jack Daniel's is capable of. I wish there was smell-o-vision so you could smell what I smell, and taste-o-vision so you can taste what I taste. It has that beautiful smoky aroma, and if I'm going to have the bottle here, I really can't put the glass there. I would like to, but my field of view on the camera isn't. If I could pull things back further or push the camera out further, but I can't. Anyway, this is part of my Whisky Basics series that I am recording all over again because I accidentally deleted it 2 or 3 weeks ago. I actually have notes tonight simply because I need them for the subject. This is number 23. There are 36 total, so once I finish this, I have 13 more to go. What are my 5 favorite whiskeys? Would you like to see handwriting? Well, that's about as good as I can get it, unless I do. Well, that's not going to help much either. But my handwriting. If all it took to be a doctor was sloppy handwriting, I would be a doctor. I said I was done moving it, but I'm going to try to make that do. Now, these are my 5 favorites. They are not, in fact, they are not what I recommend for people who are just starting in whiskey to start with. There's going to be proof on this list. There are going to be things that might be a little challenging on this list. These are my 5 favorites. Also, if I do this list in half an hour, it might be different. In fact, one of them I really struggled with making up my mind between several. In half an hour, I might make up my mind a different way. But what are these 5 favorites? I'm going to do the traditional thing and go from bottom to top, from 5 to first. And I don't have all these bottles here. Some I don't even have on hand right now. And while I could, if I had them all, it's just too much trouble right now to put them all here and bring them on camera one by one. You can find pictures online. You can go to a liquor store. I don't mean to make you do my work. It's just, it's not feasible for me. Number 5 then is Hard Truth High Road Rye. This is $44. I'm going by either the prices of the bottles I have or the price at Total Wine. Each liquor store is going to be a little different. Each market is going to be different. I say 44 bucks, that's here. Where you are, it might be 42 or it might be 47. So don't shoot me if it's not exactly what I say when you go look for it. But this is a 93 proof rye whiskey. It's the only rye whiskey on this list because I am a bourbon guy. I like rye whiskey now and again, but I much prefer bourbon. Now this is what they call a bourbon drinker's rye. It's not bourbon, and if you do know something about bourbon whiskey and rye whiskey, you'll be able to distinguish it from a bourbon, but it has a lot in common with a bourbon. I could just sit and sniff this all day. This is one of the whiskeys I have to remind myself to take that first sip. But I'll do that in a bit, because that's going to be my first sip of the night at 129.4 proof. And get my pen and check that off. Well, on this pad it's not going to be easy. I'll just scratch it off. When all else fails, be crude. They're coming to take me away, ha ha, hee hee ho ho, to the funny farm. I can't remember who did that song, but it's hilarious. Number 4 on the list, going up, is Baby Blue from Balcones Distilling. It is a corn whiskey. The mash bill is 100% roasted Texas blue corn. They have recently come out with a straight Baby Blue. Before it was too young. It cannot be a straight whiskey till it's 2 years old, and I have a video on that. Feel free to go watch it if you haven't already. And corn whiskey by law has to age either in used charred barrels or new uncharred barrels. So either way, it's not going to be able to get as much from the wood as if it were in new charred barrels. But in the Waco, Texas climate, the Baby Blue picks up as much color and as much flavor from the wood as some 4-year-old bourbons I've had. And because of the way Balcones does things, every barrel they toast first and then they char, or if it's uncharred, then they just toast it. But I'm sure they're reusing their bourbon barrels. And toasting and charring are two different things. Charring is where sometimes they'll do it with the barrel upright, sometimes lay it on the side, but flame shoots through there, sets the inside of the barrel on fire, and essentially turns a layer of the wood into charcoal. Toasting doesn't require flame. Now, you can use flame to toast, but you can use electric heat, you can use what have you. You could take a red hot rod and put it down through the center of the barrel, and the heat would toast it, because it's the application not of fire but of heat, and the two have different effects. How could I forget the word effects? They have different effects on the wood, and if you toast every barrel, then that toasting gets into all your whiskey as well as any char there is. I'm going to sip it. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's proof. When I taste something like that, I understand why Israel Hendricks on the Whiskey One channel. Please subscribe to him. He's right here in Albuquerque over on the west side, poor guy. But he when he takes a sip, he goes, I understand why he does that. When I taste something like this. Or Casey Allen on Beautiful Bourbon. Subscribe to his channel, please, if you haven't already. He takes a sip and then, I can't remember exactly how he turns his hand, but he does this and looks at it and he's going, he does more of a Kentucky chew type thing than I do. I understand why they do that. They're not putting on something. It's not an affectation. They are so entranced by the whiskey they're tasting. And I was in the middle of patting the table and nodding my head, and I suddenly realized what I was doing. It wasn't conscious on my part. But, you know, when it's really good, and I can still taste the smoke in here, by the way, and oak turning to chocolate. And you saw how long ago I took that sip. Good whiskey gets a reaction. And Jack Black will never do that for you. These whiskeys I'm talking about will, including this Baby Blue, which is, especially for a corn whiskey, it has dense, rich, tasty flavors. Number 3 is right here. Now, remember, these are not things that I recommend for you if you're new. These are my favorites. And the only criterion I have for that list, other than that I have to really like it, is that it be something that's more or less generally available. Because of the three-tier system, sometimes something that's available everywhere won't be available in one particular spot. When I first started drinking whiskey, you could not find Buffalo Trace bourbon in Albuquerque if you sold your firstborn and bribed the governor. Meanwhile, everywhere else in the country, people were finding it all over the place without difficulty. Now we get it here. Not that I'm a big fan. It's not on this list. But this is everywhere available. It is, oh, I forgot to tell you, the baby blue is $40. At least. Now, Total Wine doesn't have it in stock anymore. I don't have a bottle on, actually I do now that I think of it, I just didn't bother to dig it out. But I've been paying around $40 for 4 years now. This JD Single Barrel Proof is this bottle here. I got it today for $59. It's worth it. There is whiskey that costs $60. Well, 59 is almost 60. There's whiskey that costs $70, $80. I have had samples of whiskey that if you can find it, you're likely to have to pay $100 or more for a bottle. This is better. And the thing about proof, there are a couple of things about proof. One, because they haven't watered down the proof, they have not watered down the flavor. But if the proof is too much for you, you can always add water yourself. You cannot proof up something that they have tempered down to 80 proof or 90 proof. So once you're into whiskey, try something with proof like this. There's even what they call hazmat, 140 proof and above, which is so flammable you cannot legally carry it on an airplane. It has to go by truck or ship. But this, I've told you already, it's smoky. Let me get some of the flavors for you on the palate. Little scorch there. I swallowed quicker than I normally do, and as I took a breath to speak, it lit up the blowtorch of the alcohol. And boy, am I getting a Kentucky hug because I swallowed quicker. I love to hold it in my mouth and savor it, and the saliva does dilute it by the time I swallow. But in the order in which I got the notes, honey, butter, cinnamon, oak. Now, I could sit here and analyze it more and get more out of it. But those four were what came in. And I love a butter note on whiskey. I don't often get it. When I do, it's beautiful. And again, I can taste that oak and the chocolatiness that it gives me. I seem to be the only one who regularly gets a chocolate note from oak. But I can taste both the woodiness and the chocolatiness of it. And you saw how long ago I swallowed. And went, because of that blowtorch. Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Proof. I've not had their regular single barrels, which they proof down to, I think it's 94. I keep intending to, but every time I want to buy one of those, I wind up with one of these because of the proof. I drink stuff that's 90 to 100 proof as well as higher, but I love proof. So that was number 3. Number 2 is a kind of a workhorse. Knob Creek 9-year. I've said before, I don't remember in which video or videos, I might have said it in more than one already, that when there's a line of a particular brand, Knob Creek or Four Roses or Old Granddad or whatever, that has a basic and then higher levels of that brand, the best bottom of the brand bourbon I've ever had is Knob Creek 9-year. It's 100 proof. They never go below 100, so it's got some authority. It has the flavor that comes with not watering it down too much. And it's 29 bucks. It's gone down about $6 here in Albuquerque at Total Wine. It used to be like 36 or 7 at Kelly Liquors, which is my favorite of the stores I trade at. But Total Wine has a bigger selection because it's a national chain. It tends to have prices a couple of bucks lower. I didn't pull out my Knob Creek bottle that I have currently, which I did get at Kelly. I think it's like 32, so $2 or $3 more than Total Wine. But it is good. It's a dark bourbon, not the color, which is about standard for 100 proof bourbon, but it has the dark notes, the smoky, woody, dark fruit, brown sugar, that kind of thing. And some people don't go for that. They like a brighter, fruitier whiskey like Maker's Mark or Old Granddad. I'm not a big Maker's Mark fan. I used to be. Not anymore. Old Granddad, I love the fruitiness of it. I love the fruitiness of Four Roses small batch, which nearly was in 5th place here. I told you I had a struggle on that. But by all means, this is one I can recommend if you've been drinking whiskey a little while at least. You know, if you're first starting, 80 proof is a good place to start. That's already 40% alcohol. And 100 proof might be a bit much for you. But if you've been at it a little bit, by all means, give Knob Creek 9 a try. That was number 2. My favorite whiskey in all the world is Balcones Texas Pot Still Bourbon. Now, there are people who the minute you say Texas will say nope. The minute you say pot still, they'll say nope, unless it's Irish. There are people who don't like pot still whiskey who do like Irish, which is mostly pot still, because in Ireland they double or even triple distill it and thus get out I'm not sure a pure alcohol is quite the right way to say it, but by double or triple distilling, they strip out a lot of the congeners that provide flavor, whereas a pot still on one distillation keeps a lot of that in. It's not as efficient as a column still. And so people who are used to the column still whiskeys from Scotland or Kentucky or Tennessee tend to sometimes not like a pot still whiskey. They're used to a little less emphatic flavor. I like emphatic flavor. And this Balcones Texas Pot Still Bourbon, excuse me, that is so good. It's got my saliva flowing. Is only 92 proof. Or is it 94? It's either 92 or 94, I believe 92. Hug. This is a Tennessee hug. I just call it a hug. That way I don't have to worry, is it a Kentucky hug even though it's from Tennessee? It's just a hug. But I can feel it all the way down. It's a nice feeling, especially if you're cold. Although the illusion of warmth that drinking alcohol gives you is an illusion. You actually, if you're freezing, don't drink alcohol, you'll actually freeze quicker. There's a physiological explanation which I don't remember offhand. But it's not a high proof. It's a tad above 90. But it doesn't drink hot. And it does have a denseness and richness of flavor. Now, you may not like it. I've already said a lot of people don't like pot still whiskey. A lot of people don't like Texas whiskey. I think sometimes it's an attitude as much as it is a taste. That they have the attitude that, and they wouldn't necessarily put it this way, but even unconsciously, that the way Kentucky and Tennessee make whiskey is the way whiskey ought to be. They're used to that. If you're just starting out and you're not used to anything yet, I recommend you give this a try. Whether it'll appear on my 5 whiskeys I recommend for beginners, I don't know. I haven't gotten there yet. But it is my favorite. And it's down to 28 bucks here. It used to be 30, now it's 28. So prices are coming down. As for the time, I'm at 26 minutes. I knew this would probably be a longer video, but I've kept it mostly under control, so I'm only 6 going on 7 minutes over. But since I am over, that plastic seal's right in my way. Since I am a tad bit over, I'm going to go ahead and end it now. Thank you for listening, stealing as I sometimes do from Casey Allen. You could have been doing anything else, and yet you're here watching this video. Thank you. I have, I believe it's 63, I think I'm up to 64 subscribers now. 63 or 4. Thank you for subscribing to the most thoroughly amateur whiskey channel on earth. Tupshida.